go through at. Then you hit OK. And from there,
Okay, I think we're good. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, are we live?
Okay,
No.
I think we're good.
Oh no, there's a delay.
Okay, are we live?
No.
I think we're good.
Oh no. Oh no, there's a delay.
Okay, are we live?
No.
I think we're good.
Oh no. Oh no, there's a delay.
Okay, are we live?
No.
I think we're good.
Oh no. Try to do this live for you guys, but unfortunately there is no.
Oh no, there's a delay. Okay, are we live? I think we're good.
Oh no. Try to do this live for you guys, but unfortunately there is no.
Oh no, there's a delay. Okay, are we live? I think we're good.
Oh no. Try to do this live for you guys, but. Testing. Test. Testing. Test. So you tell me I gotta mute what? I gotta mute the YouTube or the software? It's not live though. It's not live though. There's a delay. Man, I gotta get somebody to figure this out for me. It's not live though. There's a delay. Man, I gotta get somebody to figure this out for me. It's not live though. There's a delay. Man, I gotta get somebody to figure this out for me. It's not live though. There's a delay. Man, I gotta get somebody to figure this out for me. Studio mode. Okay, this should
It's not
work.
live though. There's a delay.
Test. Test.
Man, I gotta get somebody to figure this out for me.
Studio mode. I gotta mute my speakers. Okay, I'm live. Must mute speakers. I'm muting the speaker of my computer, so hopefully that works. Okay, guys, so let's get started. Let's get started. If this works, great. If it doesn't, I'll try my best. Okay, let's get started. Let's do this. I am answering your questions now. There's a delay on my end, so I'm gonna answer my questions as best as best I can. And let's hit this. Okay, guys, first question here. We're doing Khabib versus Max Holloway. Ferguson is out. Ferguson is out. He was injured. From what I understand, he injured his knee, and now it is Max Holloway stepping in. Featherweight champion is now stepping in for Tony Ferguson versus Khabib. Now, if you guys out there think Khabib is gonna win, type in K here. I want to see how many guys think Khabib's gonna win, and if you think Holloway's gonna win, type in H. I want to see who out there is voting for is predicting Khabib. I'm sure the vast majority of you are. I heard it's 5-1. I heard the The odds are now 5-1, and yes, just like I thought, all the K's are lighting up. Everybody's lighting up K here. A few H's, but I would say that over 80% are with Khabib. This is a tough fight, guys. Really, really tough fight. Everybody's underestimating Max Holloway. He is dangerous. He's got nothing to lose. He's fighting for the lightweight title. He's not fighting for the featherweight title. He has nothing to lose. He could be a 2-division champion, and he has nothing to lose. If he loses, he'll probably get grappled, ground and pound, and he could survive a beating like that. He's a tough kid. He won't. I don't think this would be one of those career-ending fights, even if the fight goes really, really bad for him, which I don't think it will. I think it's going to be a very competitive fight. But I want to hear from you guys. Do you think it's going to be competitive, or is it going to be a one-sided beating, a 5-1 beating? I think the odds makers got it wrong. I think Khabib will win, but it's going to be a tough, tough fight. It's not going to be as easy as they're making it out to be, in my opinion. So let's get started now. What are the questions you guys have? Let me see here. Okay, a lot of you out there disagreeing with me. You don't think this is going to be a hard fight. This is going to be an easy fight. One-sided worst beating ever. Oh, well, I don't know about that. I think that Max is okay. He's a lighter fighter, but he's got a long reach. His pace is incredible. It's a 5-rounder. Don't forget, he has an incredible pace standing up. I don't personally think Max is going to win, but I also don't think it's an easy fight. That's what I want you guys to understand. Max Holloway is not an easy fight for anybody. Stick and move, baby. It's gonna be hard because that's not really Max's style. I think he can do it, but he's gonna get in the pocket. He's gonna throw. He's gonna mix it up. He's gonna get. He's a passionate fighter. He's a very passionate fighter. So I expect him to get gritty in there, and I think it's gonna be a nasty fight. It's not gonna be one of those point fights, or it's not gonna go. It's not gonna be a supreme chess match. It's going to be a fight. They're going to fight for the center, and it's going to get ugly. Your comments are, you guys are slamming in so many comments right now that I'm having trouble reading them. Cardio matchup. Okay, first question. What's the cardio like? I give the cardio edge to Max Holloway. Absolutely. Cardio goes to Max Holloway. I think that Khabib can do 5 hard rounds. Absolutely. But I have no doubt Max Holloway can do it. I have no doubt he won't get tired. The pace will get faster and faster. And Max Holloway will not slow down in the least. Okay, that's my opinion. And his long reach. Yes, Max Holloway has the long reach. That's true. That is an advantage. And I also give him the speed advantage. I also give Max Holloway the speed advantage. Now, I definitely give Khabib the wrestling advantage and the grappling advantage. No doubt. No doubt. If the fight goes to the ground and Khabib is on top, it's going to get nasty. Slowly going to get nasty and nastier and nastier, and Khabib's going to do some damage from the top. That's without a doubt. It's Max and his weight cut I'm worried about. No, Max's weight cut is going to be very easy. He makes 145. You must mean Khabib. You must mean the Khabib weight cut. Now, Khabib has had problems cutting weight. At one time, he had to be hospitalized at one of his weight cuts. Is that going to happen again? Well, I hope definitely not. His last few fights, he did it fairly easily. So I think that issue has been put to bed. I don't think he would take the risk. I'm sure he's taking every measure he needs to make sure he makes weight. This is a 5-round title fight. This is not a regular fight. This is a title fight. He wins this fight, he wins gold. So I'm sure that he's doing everything it takes to get his weight in control. Let me stretch this out for you guys. I think this is going to make a difference. Okay, so here. Khabib has that wrestling pace. Yes, he's going to be able to out-clinch Max Holloway. Definitely. I definitely see him dominating in the clinch. The clinch should be easy. Real easy. The takedowns. He should score a takedown every round. Does he need more than one takedown a round? I don't think he does. I think he wins it. I think he definitely wins 3 out of the 5 rounds and possibly finishes Max Holloway. Okay, possibly finishes Max Holloway. I don't think personally with a sub, but with ground and pound. Just unanswered strikes. And the referee will have enough at one point and just break it up. Khabib versus GSP dream match. Yeah, that would be a great match. I think it'll be a very interesting match, definitely. I just think that George's reach is too long. His karate style is going to keep Khabib at bay. And George is just probably the hardest guy in history of UFC to take down. If you look at his defensive takedown, his defensive skills, statistically, they were amazing. Okay, it was really, really amazing. Can I have a shout out? That's for Oliver. Oliver Jassal. Oliver, there's your shout out, buddy. There you go. Can GSP make it to 155? I personally think he can make it once, maybe in his career, once or twice in his career. I don't think he can fight at 155 on a regular basis, but once or twice in his career, I think he can make the weight and do a world title fight possibly at 155. Is there any way Holloway can win and how? Yes, there's definitely a way. If Khabib starts to slow down and with the striking, I see Max Holloway winning with the striking. And if he were to get a sub or a top position and win a round like that, he would have to first stun and hurt Khabib standing up. If he just tries to wrestle Khabib to the ground and pin him with technique and skill, he's going to be outmatched. He's going to be outmuscled and outmatched. If he does win with the grappling, that's kind of like the B plan. You know, if you knock Khabib down, if you hurt Khabib, or if Khabib is really tired, then it'll bring Khabib's grappling skills. You know, it'll make it more level. But until he hurts him or fatigues him immensely, he should just try to keep it standing. And he's got to make it high-paced. It's got to be nasty. And he's got to land shots on the chin. If he hits Khabib on the head, Khabib is just going to keep walking forward. And he would be wise, in my opinion, to throw elbows as well. Punches might not necessarily hurt Khabib enough to slow him down. Who has the bigger heart? That is a really tough one, but I have to give that edge to Max Holloway, you know, because he's been in so many wars, and Khabib's had these clean fights, you know, these clean wins. You know, the Aldo fights, in my opinion, especially when Max got hurt in round 1 in their first fight, he got tagged pretty good, but he showed so much heart. So, you know, you could say the same for Khabib, but I'll give a slight edge maybe to Max Holloway in terms of his grittiness, his toughness. But Khabib, in my opinion, is more skilled when it comes to the wrestling and the grappling. There's a higher level of skill there. Not a much higher level, not miles and miles, not light years away. Okay, so fatigue, and you know, once things get sweaty, I think Max Holloway could start escaping more and more takedowns, and it get increasingly more difficult to take Max Holloway down. However, we can't forget Max Holloway is a very, very competent grappler. Just a quick question for you guys: how is the voice? How is the sound on this stream? I'm not sure because I can't hear myself, so I'm not sure if the sound is good or even if this mic is working. You guys let me know. Here, maybe I can do audio source. Input capture. Testing. Test. All right, so I think the mic is working even better now. I hear you perfectly. Okay, great. Fantastic. Working perfect. Beautiful. Now, the only drawback here is I have a delay from the video to you guys. But okay, if you guys are hearing me, great. That works. All right, so let's keep it going. Don't change it. It's perfect. Fantastic. That's how I'm going to leave it. Question, based on McGregor's domination of Max, that was a long time ago. You know, that was a long time ago. Max has grown a lot since then. He has gotten a lot better. I don't think you can compare the Max Holloway that fought McGregor. He has improved. He's done so much work on his game. He's light years ahead of what he used to be. That's the old Max Holloway. There's a new Max Holloway. And I would love to see a rematch between him and McGregor. A 5-rounder. That would be something. That would be something. I think that Max Holloway does everything that Nate Diaz does and more. So I think it would be a really, really interesting fight. Max lost to Conor. Well, that was 5 years ago. Thank you. Yes, that's correct. Was that 5 years ago? Wow. That was a long time ago. Max Holloway is definitely another animal now. How do you see this fight playing out? Well, if you're talking about Khabib versus Max Holloway, I think Khabib's going to get a few takedowns earlier on if he keeps those takedowns going and the pressure is high and he could break Max Holloway, which is hard to imagine. You know, Max Holloway hasn't been broken physically yet, but there's a first time for everything. And he's never faced a guy like Khabib. Okay, he's never faced a guy like Khabib. So is it going to happen? We have to tune in and see. It's going to be a tough one to call, but I think Khabib's pressure is just going to be a little bit too much. And early on, especially when things are dry, he's going to have more and more control of Max Holloway. What do you think Holloway has in common with Tony Ferguson? Well, they're body type. They're both ectomorphs. They're both long and lanky. I think that's something they have in common. But Ferguson had a much different striking style. Very, very different striking style. He would switch stance. He would definitely throw more elbows. You know, he's a different type of takedown defense. He does a lot of rolling, which I think is fantastic. I love to watch. I was really excited to see Tony versus Khabib. I think this is the third time these two guys are supposed to fight each other. and it's the third time this fight falls through. So if I remember correctly, this is the third time. My goodness, incredible. Do you think Ortega can submit Khabib? Yeah, anything's possible, but I think that's a tall order. Really, really tall order. Khabib is very, very seasoned. He's a very seasoned grappler. Very difficult sub to get, but not impossible. Next question here, guys. These questions are streaming super fast. I can barely read them. Fourth time, it was canceled. Fourth time? Really? Muhammad says it's fourth time. I'm not sure about that, but I think 4 times. Now you guys are saying 4 times. Damn. I remember hanging out with Khabib's dad on the second time it was booked. Second, or maybe now that you guys are saying a fourth, it might have been the third time it was booked. And he was telling me he thought the Ferguson fight was a very, very hard fight. A very, very hard fight. And he was telling me that, look, they're getting really ready for this fight. This is before, obviously, Ferguson was a champion. And Khabib's father was telling me how dangerous Khabib is. And he was telling me, how dangerous Ferguson is. And he was telling me that Ferguson may be the toughest guy in the division for Khabib to beat. So, he was holding Ferguson in high regard early back before Ferguson was champion or even had a title shot. So, it's safe to say that Khabib's father saw a lot of potential. He foresaw that this fight would happen probably again. That even if Khabib beat him, he'd have to fight him again in the future, because Tony Ferguson wasn't going to be going away. That's basically what he was telling me. All right, guys, let me see. They are equal in pullouts. Make them fight again. Yeah, that's would be a tough fight to rebook. I think 2 times Khabib pulled out, and now 2 times Ferguson pulled out. So it's a tough match to put together again. If you were the trainer of Max, what strategy would you implement for Max? Well, you know what? I would want definitely. There's a lot of things I want done, but definitely I want it to be a high-paced fight. It's because the style that Khabib brings to the fight is very hard to sustain. It's a tough style of fighting to sustain. So I think Max Holloway would eventually start being harder and harder to take down, and he can create a downward spiral that way. He'd have to make it so that there are early scrambles in the fight. Scrambles, not perfect takedowns where you land in a stable position and you're controlling your opponent. No. That's very bad for Max. Okay, Max wants as much dynamic change, as much funk rolling, as much as he can be a Tony Ferguson, as much as he can scramble. The more scrambles, the better. Guys, don't swear in this comment section, because I'm just gonna ban you. Okay, I'm just gonna ban you. I won't even think about it. If I see swearing and stuff like that, I'm just gonna ban it. Okay, so please do yourself a favor. If you want to hang out here on this chat, do not curse. All right, let's keep the TriStar Gym a family channel. Max will land shots on Khabib. Thank you, Tim Wise. I'm sure he will. But what will happen? Is Khabib going to walk through them? That's the question. Can Khabib just plow through, walk through? Are they going to be bouncing off his head, or are they going to be connecting and backing up Khabib? That's the big question I really want answered in round 1. Can he walk through Max Holloway's shots? Because if he can walk through Max Holloway's shots, guess what? He's going to beat Max Holloway quite easily. All right, let me just see here. Respect everyone. Yes, thank you. That's definitely right. Let's keep it clean, guys and girls. Yes, definitely. Artem Lobov. No, that's Eddie Machete. Gonna show... Man. All right, let's see here. No one mentioned Max's injury. Oh, God. Yeah, I heard that Max also just came off an injury and that supposedly he's not 100% recovered, but he's doing this to save this big night. So I don't know if this is true or not, but I have also heard that rumor. Whitaker versus Romero, too. I like Whitaker. Definitely like Whitaker. Hey, for us, what's up? Young, what's up? Thank you. Thank you for your comments. What should we look for while watching the fight? Well, can Max Holloway back up Khabib? If Khabib starts backing up in the fight, it's a bad sign for the Khabib Team Khabib. That's my opinion. That especially because he doesn't have that long range type of punching. Khabib is mostly a puncher. He'll throw a beautiful knee once in a while. He's very scary with the knee. Sometimes he'll throw that flying knee, kind of like how RDA does. He has a beautiful flying knee that he throws once in a while. That's very dangerous. But most of his strikes, I would say 80% of his strikes, are his hands. So if he starts backing up, and he's not a long range fighter, it's a bad sign for Khabib. Khabib versus Woodley, very interesting fight. That would be really, really interesting. Who got rocked more often? Not sure who you're referring to. Holloway counter right. Holloway has good counter everything. He has a wild left hook. He has a beautiful counter right. You're right. He's got some great uppercuts. He's very good with his hands as well, but he definitely kicks a lot more than the Khabib. When is GSP coming back? That's a great question. Do you guys want to see GSP fight Conor McGregor? I heard Conor McGregor's coach, somebody sent me an article saying that his coach wants him to fight GSP. I want him to fight GSP. I wanted to book that fight many times. Many times, we've been back and forth. But you know what? GSP won't call out a lighter fighter, that's for sure. So if it's a fight that McGregor wants, I'm sure it will happen. If it's not a fight McGregor wants, GSP won't be asking for it. So for you fans who are asking for it, you guys just got to tell UFC what you want to see. GSP needs to stop selling shirts and come back. Well, GSP needs a super fight, a mega fight. Okay, not just a fight. It has to be a mega fight. If you guys can dream up a mega fight, pitch it to the UFC. What do you guys want to see? What's going to make GSP come back? It's got to be a super mega fight. That'll get his blood boiling. Listen, I know the man really well. Okay, if you entice him with a mega fight, he may come back. But it has to be a fight that is, historic. Something super, super exciting that he hasn't done before. And, that will get him back in the gym. Back in the gym training for a fight. He's regularly in the gym. People are going to misquote me and say, I said he's not in the gym. No, the man is in the gym, but he's not training for a fight. He's training kind of like for fun, okay? So we need to get him back training for a fight, and that takes a mega fight, a big name fight. Ben Askren, I'm not sure if that'll excite him enough, to be honest with you guys. Maybe a grappling match or something, but MMA match. I like Ben Askren. I'm a huge Ben Askren fan, but as you guys know, that wouldn't be maybe the biggest seller in George's career, okay? Maybe, for sure, Askren is not as well known as many other names. So he's as great as all these other names, but maybe he's not as well known and as marketed as these other names, and that might pose a problem. GSP versus Khabib, I highly doubt it, but it's not impossible. Show respect to TriStar for more. Thank you very much for that respect. What else we got? Reptilians? No, I don't believe in reptilians. Advice for Khabib. Well, advice for Khabib: move your head on the way in. For goodness sakes, he's got so much skill. You would hate for him to walk into a bad shot. He's got to move that head more than he's been doing in his last few fights. I'm sure his coaches are all over him about it. I'm not trying to say that I saw something unique. I think most amateur UFC fans know that he needs to move his head more. I'm sure his coaches are working on it, but maybe it's just his style and his comfort. But he needs to do it. Whether he thinks it's right or wrong, he needs to move his head more. He's always on the 12 o'clock line. That is correct. I agree with you, Machete. He's on the 12 o'clock line, not the place you want to be. And guys, do not underestimate Max Holloway's power. For goodness sake, man. He dropped Aldo. Aldo's got a chin of iron. Yes, he's been dropped and bounced back up, but man, it's not easy in his career. Yes, he was knocked out by McGregor. He was dropped by Mendez, but Aldo has had a great chin. He has shown to have a great chin throughout his career, and do not underestimate Max Holloway's power. He has very, very good power, especially if somebody's walking into that power. It's not something you want to take lightly. He will have even more power at 155. You know what? That may very well be, because I've met Max Holloway. We've done a seminar once together. He was teaching alongside a seminar Rory was at, and I got to meet him. And you know what? He's a big guy. He's a big dude. I've actually seen him a few times in person. He's not a small 155er. I think he would be, he's a huge 145er. He's monstrous for that weight class. But at 155, he's not small. No way. I've seen smaller 155ers. He's a big guy. So definitely not a small 55er. No way. How does the lightweight landscape change if Holloway wins? Whoa, man, if Holloway wins, the whole division's going to be upside down. Guys who are waiting for a title fight are going to be pushed back a year. Guys who are like on the cusp. It'll be pushed back a year. If there'll definitely be a rematch between him and Khabib, in my opinion. Definitely be a rematch. Wonder Boy versus Till. Yeah, that's a great fight. I can't wait to see that. Is that fight booked? I heard that fight is booked. I don't know if it's official, but if it is official, that's gonna probably tell you who's in the next 170 World Championship fight. You know, the next title contender. Does Max will not win? Maybe. You know, we'll have to wait and see. No way Max wins. If Max wins, he's the greatest 145er. I think the greatest 145er of all time, we have to say it's Jose Aldo because he's fought in that division and he's defended that title longer than anybody. And he was the WEC 145 champ, the UFC 145 champ for a long time. To be the greatest 145er of all time, you have to win the title, and then you got to do what Aldo did. You can't just beat Aldo. Just because Max Holloway beat Aldo doesn't mean he's as great as Aldo. He has to do what Aldo did in that division. Every champion goes through a peak, and at one point he goes down. His peak. You can't stay at your peak forever, right? That's what peak means, right? A peak has another edge that goes down, right? It's not a plateau. It's a peak, right? It goes up and then down. Aldo's past his prime. He's past his peak. Okay, so what does that mean? You know, would Aldo in his prime beat a Max Holloway? We'll never know. So Max Holloway has to show us that when he's in his prime, he can do more than than Jose Aldo. So for Max Holloway to be crowned the greatest 145 of all time, he's gonna have to do, what Aldo did, and that is a very tall order. All right, one guy just got banned here. All right. Hey, Mr. Zahabi, Khabib said Holloway weighs more than him right now. That could be true. Because he wasn't expecting to fight. Maybe he let himself balloon up and he has to lose more weight. That's very possible. Rory versus Woodley too. Rory is the Bellator welterweight champ. Woodley is the UFC champ. Let's make that happen. I'm 100% with you. Whoever made that comment, sorry, I missed your username. Woodley versus Rory McDonald too. Unification bout. I love that idea. Let's make it happen. Bellator, UFC, get together. Figure it out. Make it. Unification bout. Brilliant. I think that would sell immensely. Khabib versus Maia. Very interesting fight. That I would love to see. Khabib could definitely fight at 170. He's a big, strong dude, and I think 170 will give his system a break. And it's not a fight where he'll get his chin checked. I think there would be just a great mega fight. A fight that the hardcore fans will definitely want to see. Why do you think Max Holloway took the fight? I think money. Money for sure. If somebody offered you, $500,000, maybe $1 million more than what you're making, would you say no? I personally wouldn't. If somebody offered me that much money, for 25 minutes, I know it's more than 25 minutes, but I guarantee you that Holloway's training all year round, right? So it's the money. I'm sure he got a great offer. And look, he gets the chance to possibly be a two-division champ. How can Khabib beat GSP? That's a very tall order because, what Khabib does, GSP does extremely well as well. Plus, he has all that striking. And, his conditioning, George's conditioning is ridiculous. So, tough order. That'll be a tough call. Tough strategy to put together. For us, who's the best grappler in UFC? Right now, I would say probably Maia. His striking is so poor compared to the other top 170 fighters. That sometimes it just doesn't get to shine. But grappling wise, I would give the edge to Maia, no doubt. Do you agree GSP is the best of all time? Yes, absolutely, 100%. He's the only guy to win so many fights and pass every single drug test. That does matter. Okay, that does matter to me. If you pop for any type of substance, in my opinion, you should be disqualified from the championship talk or best of all time. It should disqualify you. Because now we have a doubt that every other one of your fights, it makes a big difference, guys. Substance abuse, PEDs make a big difference, okay? If I was on PEDs, listen, it makes you a lot better. It makes you a lot easier to win your fights, okay? Look at men and women. Okay? What's the difference between a man and a woman? Obviously, our hormones. Obviously, men have more testosterone than women, okay? We have like 10 times more testosterone. Every other body part you have is similar. Look at when a child is in the womb, the gonads. If the woman is inseminated with a Y chromosome, the gonads become testicles. If she's inseminated with an X chromosome, they become ovaries. All right, it's testosterone. Look at men. Put There's a reason why we have a boxing division for men and we have a boxing division for women. Look at the Olympics. Almost all the records are set by men. Almost all the world records are set by men in almost every single sport. Why? Testosterone. Hormones make a major difference. Okay. Why do you think Khabib can beat Woodley? Tough fight for him to win. Very tough fight. I would have to give the edge to Woodley. Would Max beat Khabib? Would Max beating Khabib be the biggest moment in UFC history? No, I wouldn't say it's the biggest moment in UFC history, but it would be a major moment. What do you think? Who do you think will win the championship rounds? That's a tough one. I think those are the if Max Holloway can bank some rounds in, it should be round 4 and 5, definitely. If he can, okay. Those are his best shot. Those rounds are his best shot. Here we go. Thoughts on Stipe versus DC? I love that fight. Can't wait to see it. I gotta give a small edge to Stipe. Even though DC can be heavyweight world champion, he was an incredible heavyweight. Tough one. Tough one. Okay, another one of you just got banned. Hold on a second. Keep it clean, guys. If you're not clean, you're gonna get banned. All right, so back to it. All right. Machete, Stipe is just too polished. I agree. Stipe is just too polished. Stipe is striking, his boxing. He's going to connect. And if he gets taken down, he's going to get up. Okay. How clean is clean, Faraz? You've never taken any illegal substance in your life. In your entire life. You've never taken a legal substance in your entire life. That is what being clean is. How good is Mighty Mouse? Mighty Mouse is arguably one of the greatest pound-for-pound fighters of all time. I hold him in the top 3, top 5 for sure, top 3 even. Okay, he's really, really incredible fighter. Swing that ban hammer, definitely, guys. I believe that you gotta be, for goodness sake, people are hitting each other in the head. You have to be clean. Think about it. You're not trying to kick a ball into a net. Okay, that's one thing. If you're doing steroids and you're kicking a ball into a net, I think it's wrong. I think it's morally wrong. If you're riding a bike, you're pedaling a bike and you're zipping by other people because you're on steroids, that's also, I think, morally wrong. But for goodness sake, when you're taking steroids and you're hitting another human being in the head, that's just another level of immorality. That's just another level of being a rat, so to speak. That's just a dirty thing to do. Okay, so unless both guys are on steroids and they're open about it, they're like, hey, I'm on steroids, you're on steroids, we're in our 40s, we agree to this, that's another story. Okay, but when you sign that UFC contract, you're agreeing to fight another human being who is off steroids. You are both agreeing that you will not be on any banned substance, and that you've never been on banned substance. They ask you in the form, are you taking any banned substance? When you do your medical exam, have you ever taken any drugs? And you're saying no, and you're signing your name on that paper. You're being dishonest if you did take any banned substance. Apple Master, everyone's on steroids. Listen, it's not true that everybody's on steroids. Yours truly here is not on steroids. Okay, I don't compete, but there's a lot of guys also, believe you me, that compete and have never taken any banned substance. And those guys, in my opinion, they're the most admirable fighters. Why? Because they're doing it for real. Okay, it's not easy to do when you're competing with other guys who take bad substance. All right, so keep that in mind. Have the highest respect for guys who don't take banned substance. This one is from Naz. Johnny Hendricks, a drug cheater or not? That's a good question. After USADA, his game's just never been the same. I'll leave that up to you guys to speculate. RDA versus Covington. I love that fight. That is a really exciting fight. For you hardcore fans, you know that is a great, great matchup. For you hardcore fans out there, okay, we're all going to tune in. I don't know if that fight is going to break records in terms of numbers, okay, but that is a great, great fight. I'm giving the edge to Khabib. I personally am giving the edge to Khabib. I like Colby Covington's high-paced style, his wrestling, his hands, how he puts them together. But I think because Dos Anjos has those powerful kicks, he's going to have an edge. And also his jiu-jitsu. He's going to have the jiu-jitsu edge. GSP versus Woodley. Will it happen? I don't know. Woodley will have to, he'll have to sell a lot of pay-per-views. He would have to show that he's a big pay-per-view draw, I think, for George to take that fight and get in there, It would have to be some big pay-per-view numbers. How is the BJJ of Max Holloway? I've never had a chance to roll with Max Holloway, but He looks good, man. His jiu-jitsu looks really, really good. He knows the positions well. When he got on Aldo's backs, just the way he was holding the hooks, you could tell he's an expert in jiu-jitsu. What do you think of the quality of fighters coming out of Dagestan? I love it, man. They're fantastic. Very, very dangerous. I've gotten to work with a few of them. Love them. Very good. Are you Armenian? No, I'm Lebanese. Askren versus Khabib. Who would win? That's a great fight. Now that's a great fight. I'd have to give the striking edge to Khabib. I think there would be some wrestling back and forth. Lots of nice scrambles. Takedowns here and there. But ultimately, the fight would be getting back up. Whoever gets taken down, I think will be able to get back up to his feet. And I would give the edge to Khabib on the feet. And even if they get on the ground, I think Khabib will do a little bit better job at riding. Because he has more of a jiu-jitsu style. They're creating robot fighters over there. Yes, they are. Because if we're talking about the Russian place there. Yeah, if we're talking about that, yes, they are. Holloway have better striking than Barboza. Hard to say better, but he's just... he could take that forward pressure more. I think Barboza, once he gets pushed back and he's backpedaling, he has a hard time fighting back when he's backpedaling. It seems like he's getting tired. We saw that when he fought Ferguson, and we saw that definitely when he fought Khabib. He looked like he was drowning when he was backpedaling. There's an art to backpedaling. Like if you see Carlos Condit, for instance, he does a great job at moving in a zigzag fashion. Yes, thank you, Dagestan. Thank you, Stanley. I appreciate that. I needed to look at the word. Thank you. Fruit Pigs, please keep it clean. I don't want to have to ban another person, so please keep it clean. Don't swear, even though you're asking a question. Keep the cussing out, please. Please accept the invitation to the Joe Rogan podcast. Guys, I have accepted the invitation. It's just a matter of time. When will I be in LA? The next time I'm in Vegas, I might just fly to LA just to get it out of the way because I know you guys have been asking me a lot. It's been years now. I just have to make the time to go there. The last time I was in LA, which was just a couple of months ago, I had the flu. I was so sick. I didn't ring Joe. I was just too sick. I was just like really in bed for the entire week I was there, and I was barely healthy enough to make it to the fight. I basically crawled out of bed and got to the fight for Rory's fight versus Lima. So it was a very, very horrible week for me. We'll make it the next time. I promise. I'm in LA. I will rig him up and we will do it. We'll have fun on that podcast. Can you talk about Frankie Edgar for 3 hours, please? No, I don't think we'll be talking about Frankie Edgar for 3 hours. Maybe when he books his next fight, we'll do a breakdown of his next fight. Love Frankie Edgar, love his style, historical fighter. Next question, JSP versus Ngannou. Well, you know what? Let me tell you. I guarantee you GSP gets it down to the ground in round one. Okay, he's a monster of, I don't have to tell you how good his takedowns are. And when he gets that fight down to the ground, it's not going to last long. Thoughts on Thug Rose or Joanna? Tough fight to call, guys. Really, really tough fight. Joanna seemed timid the last time, like the first few exchanges. I think this time she's really going to want to come forward. But I like Rose in this fight. It's a tough one, a really tough one to call. But I think I give a slight edge to Rose. Okay, a really tough fight to call. Do you think Khabib would remain undefeated? Yes, I think he beats Holloway. I think he remains undefeated. Yes, hopefully so. I really like Khabib. I want to see him win that title. If the 145er champ wins the 155 pound belt, it'll flip the division upside down, which wouldn't be too fun. I mean, it would be crazy. There's a lot of guys waiting in line, to get a couple of good fights in to get to that title shot. That would set everybody back, so it'd be a tough one. Darren Till beats Woodley. Tough one to call, guys. Tough one to call. Woodley showed a very intelligent understanding of Wonderboy's game, and Darren Till kind of does a lot of what Wonderboy does, so I don't know. That's a tough one. What do you think of Darren Till? Love it, man. I think his style is amazing. We need that kind of style, That's some beautiful karate style, kickboxing style, hands down, angles. Really, really good striking. Love it. Can you do more videos on philosophy, theology, etc.? Yes, possibly in the future. I want to keep this channel more about MMA and training, but I might start another channel eventually. For those of you who don't know, I have a philosophy background, so Maybe in the future, or pose them in the AMA. You know, it is Ask Me Anything. So if I get a philosophy question, I'll do my best to answer it. Habibi, 30 pounds in 6 days. Will Max chin hold up? 30 pounds in 6 days. Are you saying that Max is doing 30 pounds in 6 days? Um, if Max is floating around at 185, which wouldn't be unbelievable, I don't think he's that high, but it wouldn't be unbelievable because he has a very big frame. That's an easy weight for him to lose. Very, very easy weight for him to lose. It's not a same 30 pounds that a 155er would have to lose. Okay, so he's just probably carrying a lot of water weight. Um, what do you think of Punish a Muslim Day? Is it Punish a Muslim Day today? Oh, it is April 3rd. Yes, I heard about this. A bunch of you guys sent me uh, the letter and stuff. Thank you guys for letting me know about this new holiday. Listen, guys, it's absurd, okay? Could you imagine if somebody made a Punish a Black Person Day, or Punish a Jewish Person Day, or Punish a Atheist Day, or Punish a Woman Day, or Punish a whatever day? You know, it's just stupidest, most ignorant, bigoted, moronic thing somebody can do. And it is April 3rd. I'm a Muslim, so if anybody is at the TriStar Gym tonight for practice and wants to punish a Muslim, please walk in, and we can have a dialogue, and I can give you a guys. It's a stupid holiday. It's a whatever. Watch a good documentary on World War II. You know, watch 4 or 5 documentaries on World War II. This racism, bigotry, all that stuff, take it and throw it out the window. Okay, it doesn't belong anywhere in the world. 100 years from now, maybe even 50 years from now, 150 years from now, the whole world will be one global village. People will be on the internet meeting. People will be of mixed races. People will be of mixed cultures. People will be of all sorts of walks of life, and people won't even know what race they're from anymore. That's going to be such a passe thing. Nationalism is going to be so passe, and people are becoming more and more mingled that eventually people are just going to be having common interests. There's going to be groups of people who are doing jiu-jitsu from all walks of life, people who are interested in science and arts and philosophy and all sorts of crazy things, but they're going to be from every walk of life. Your kids are going to marry people from a foreign culture, a foreign religion, a foreign world, and they will mix. And when they mix, they're going to look back at their forefathers and say, man, our forefathers were dumb. And all these videos that these morons are putting on YouTube are still going to be there. People are going to be like, look at these guys. Look how primitive their little minds were. All right, guys, so back to the fight and back to training. Does Khabib have a good BJJ? Yes, actually, I've been in the practice room with him once. I didn't get a chance to train with Khabib. I didn't get a chance to roll with him, but I did get a chance to see him roll with a few guys. And his jiu-jitsu was A1, fantastic. Okay. When or GSP will fight again? I already answered that. This is annihilation of culture. Well, guys, I want to keep this about training, but listen, cultures have morphed throughout history. Cultures have morphed throughout history. Do you think your culture is the original culture? And there's only one thing that sustains culture, okay? There's only one thing, birth rate. Birth rate. Unless there's an eradication of a people, which never really has been successful, okay? And only in very few instances. It always comes down to birth rate. Now, the birth rate in Europe, for those of you who don't know, is 1.5. That is the true crisis of the English, the European culture. It has nothing to do with other people's. Okay, now this is me putting it in a very simplistic manner. I'm not a historian, okay, but historians, when I hear them lecture, they say it ultimately comes down to birth rate. Okay, birth rate. Does the nucleus of your civilization, which is the nuclear family, okay, the nucleus of the civilization is the nuclear family. Is it common today to have 2 parents and 2 or 3 children? 3 or more children? It's highly uncommon in the West. Highly uncommon. Look at everybody. Most people you know that got married got divorced, right? Most your friends had divorced parents, etc. It's an epidemic. Less people are getting married, and divorce is on the rise. So marriage is on the down and divorce is on the rise. If you guys want to save your culture, if you're so attached to it, for goodness sake, marry a woman from your culture and give her 3 or 4 kids. If you're so in love with your culture, that's the way to revive and propagate your culture. But people aren't doing that. They want their culture to be propagated via violence or a war of some sort. It doesn't work that way. So next, back to the fighting, back to the fight. Do you think should be fought open mat rather than a cage? No, I like the cage. Open mat, you fall off, you get injured. Very dangerous. What are your top 5 books? That's gonna be another tangent, guys. Let's keep it on the fight. How can Chael beat Mir or Fedor? Oof, that's a tall order. Um, that's a tall order. Look, he'd have to, he'd have to get lucky with a good connected shot. He'd have to connect a really, really good shot on the chin. I just don't see him winning those fights unless he lands a shot. And he's not known for his power, so he'd have to connect the shot and it'd have to work. He just typically he lands a shot here and there, but it doesn't really stun or back up his opponents too badly. And I don't really seeing him out wrestle Mir or there's just so much bigger. I see him getting a takedown. Then again, I see him getting a takedown or two, but tough fight, very tough fights to call. Top 5 books, please. You'd have to pick a subject because that's too vague of a question. How do you think the footwork of Max plays in the upper body takedowns? Footwork is not really, it's a wrestling type footwork, a judo type footwork, and Khabib is very familiar with it. So I don't think he has the judo footwork to match Khabib. Khabib has wrestled with judo experts since day one. So it's not going to be a major factor. It's not going to be a plus for Max. I think he's going to have to make sure that Khabib doesn't get to his grips, because if Khabib gets those grips that he wants, the footwork ain't going to matter. Holloway takedown defense. It's really good, but is it takedown defense that's ready for Khabib? That's the question, and we won't know till fight night. For us, I love you. Thank you, Muhammad. Appreciate that. Love you too, my friend. Thank you. Are you going to corner Nazarat in Liverpool? Yes, I am. I am booked to go to Liverpool. Actually, no, it's not in Liverpool now. I believe it's been pushed. But I will be in Liverpool, and I will be probably giving a lot of seminars this time in England. I gave a seminar in England the last time I was there. It went really well, so I got a lot of demand for more seminars. I will be a little bit early in England. So for those of you who want seminars, I will probably be doing 2 or 3. Look out for my seminars when I come to England and join one of those seminars that I'll be doing. Canada has a great prime minister. Yes, actually, he used to train at TriStar Gym. Trudeau used to train at TriStar Gym. He doesn't train there anymore. Believe me, if he did, I would probably have a discussion with him and put it live here on YouTube for you guys. What is Holloway's path to victory? Holloway's path to victory. He's got to get nasty. He's got to make this a street fight a little bit of a street fight. He's got to make it high paced, and he's got to back up Khabib. Not when I say street fight, I don't mean drop his hands and go wild, but I mean make it a high paced, gritty fight. A high paced, gritty fight, and stay off the ground. If he can stay off the ground and keep it high paced, things can turn in his favor. Trudeau is the optimum of cringe. I can't say I haven't cringed a few times, but I think he's an all-around nice guy. Canada has a great prime minister. Come to Manchester. We are only 30 miles away from Liverpool. We'll probably make it to Manchester. I'm not sure where exactly I'm going to be doing my seminars, but I have already few people have reached out to me and want to do seminars. Putin versus Trudeau. Who would win? Guys, come on. Are you kidding me? Putin is a judo black belt. Trudeau, nice guy and everything, but he was more of an amateur boxer. He did some boxing, but not he didn't do it religiously. So Putin would probably get the takedown in round 1, and guys, that would be all she wrote. Ever coming to Scotland? I've been to Scotland at least once. Yeah, I've been to Scotland I've been to Scotland twice. Love Scotland, and definitely will come to Scotland. And from now on, when I come to foreign countries, I'm gonna try to book seminars. And hopefully get to meet you guys living in different parts of the world, and do some training with you guys. I'm going to try to do that now. Whenever I go to these foreign fights, I'm going to try to go a day or two early and book seminars for you guys. It'll be fun. Nobody can take Trudeau's left-hand shot. You guys are going crazy on Trudeau here. You guys love Trudeau. Canada has a great prime minister. Well, I heard that Jordan Peterson wants to run for prime minister now. He's thinking about it. I saw a headline. Didn't read the article, don't know how serious he was about it, but that could be really interesting. Tony versus Conor. Tony Ferguson versus Conor. That would be an epic fight. Would love to see how that fight plays out. Maybe a future super fight in the making. For us, when are you coming to Vancouver? Not sure. Nothing booked yet for Vancouver. Would love to make it to Vancouver, guys. Big Vancouver fan. Been there many, many times. How are we doing on time here? Not sure where we are. Oh, 49 minutes. Okay, good. Rory striking versus Musashi striking. Rory's more of a high-paced fighter. He's more of a high-paced fighter. I think he outpoints him, takes it to later rounds, possibly knocks him out, but higher pace than Musashi. I think Musashi lays back a lot. He lays back, and I think Rory would get the jump on him. Point fighting for MMA. Well, point fighting for MMA can work for a little bit, but those gloves are really small. Why would you try to point? Just connect. The knockouts happen quite a bit. The gloves are small. Jordan Peterson all day versus Justin Trudeau. You know what? I don't know. I don't know much about politics. I got to be honest with you guys. I don't follow too much politics. And when we study philosophy, we talk a lot about politics, but I don't really follow. I've been reading Jordan Peterson's first book. I got through first 6 rules. I think the book is really good. I could maybe do a future episode on that. Lots of interesting stuff. Lots of interesting stuff that relates to the mat and training. Because a lot of his principles are about virtue. Developing virtue in a person. So I think it's a brilliant book. Very good book. Have you trained with Jean-Claude Van Damme? Yes, I have trained with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Jean-Claude Van Damme is a good kicker, believe it or not. We've done some sparring with him, light sparring, touch sparring. He's done some sparring with George, myself. He moves really well, believe it or not. He moves really, really well. Nice guy, friendly guy. Musashi ain't Japanese. Yes, you're right. I mispronounced his name. My apologies. Musashi, I believe is the pronunciation. How did you score Khabib versus Tibau? Really tough. I watched it a long time ago. I remember it being super close, but I watched it a long time ago. I'd have to rewatch it again. I remember the fight being very controversial. Ramadan is coming soon. Yes, it is. That's correct. When's George coming back to fight? Answered it earlier, guys. Not sure. We need a mega fight. Big mega fight. Peterson's map of meaning. Lectures are awesome, especially the ones breaking down Pinocchio. Yes, Pinocchio is an interesting story. Very, very interesting story. Did you see Jean-Claude Van Damme did to Kobe Garbrandt? No, I haven't seen it, but I did hear about it. Somebody told me he kicked him accidentally. Do you think Holloway will gas out? No, I don't think Holloway will gas out. I think he can go on for days. His conditioning is, in my opinion, A1. Thoughts on Gary Tonon's MMA debut? Excuse me. I think he did a really good job. Put on a great show. Showed he could strike. Showed that he's just as aggressive standing up as he is in his jiu-jitsu. Ortega, harder matchup for Khabib than Holloway? Eesh, I wouldn't say that. They're both tough matchups, but I think it's Holloway's pace that's ultimately the most dangerous thing that he brings to the table, and I think that's what brings why I would give him the edge in terms of matchup as compared to Ortega. Ortega doesn't have that intensity that Holloway has. He does have a great intensity, but Holloway has that. His intensity is just so incredible. His last few fights. So let's see if he can put a dent in the Khabib machine. How would you advise your fighter coming off ankle injury versus Khabib? Well, ankle injuries are tough. I'm not a doctor, but I would definitely want to strengthen it. And I definitely want an expert to follow him and keep tabs on that ankle. Is it getting stronger? Is the mobility good? Can he move on it? It's just tough. It's tough. You need to appeal to the experts and have good physiotherapists that you trust that can keep him as healthy as possible. Punish a Muslim Day. What's your opinion? I talked about that today, guys. Don't try it. Don't try to punish a Muslim. That's just stupid. Okay. Would you try to punish a black? Would you try to punish a Jew? Would you try to punish a woman on a punish a woman day? What an absurd, moronic, intellectually bankrupt type way of thinking. Just dumb. Just plain old dumb. Is Holloway strong enough to wrestle Khabib? Eesh, that is a question, because if he does get overpowered, it's going to be a long night. He needs to show that he has that athleticism. He needs to have some level of athleticism to keep Khabib off, because Khabib's strength, I haven't wrestled him, but man, he looks strong. Just watching him, he looks strong. What are your odds on the Max fight? Listen, I heard the odds are 5-1 in favor for Khabib. I would think 3-1 is reasonable. 2.5. 2-1 is reasonable. 5-1 is a steep, I think. So, look at those. Man. Guys, keep it clean, please. Do you predict we'll win Holloway or Khabib? Guys, I'm going with Khabib, just to make it clear. I just don't think it's as easy of a fight as everybody else is making it out to be. It's a tough fight. Thoughts on John Jones? Nothing really. I haven't really been following him. Don't know what he's up to. Chances someone misses weight. Listen, that's always possible. Scary thought, but I hope this fight goes through. Hey, for us, whose cardio is the best, Khabib or Holloway? I would have to go with Khabib. I would go with Khabib. Excuse me, pardon me. Scratch that. I do that all the time. I mix up names. Those of you who watch this show a lot, I'm always mixing up names. My apologies. I give the cardio advantage to Holloway. For us, is Holloway the toughest challenge for Khabib yet? Hard to say. I wouldn't say it's the hardest challenge. It's the most different challenge, most unique. Khabib has, I don't want to say he has nothing to win. He has a title to win. But he's taking a chance. Because if he loses, it looks bad on him, right? If he beats Holloway, he beat a 145er. He's not going to have that people are going to recognize him as the champ. They're always going to, his haters are going to have a lot to hate on. They're going to be like, hey, you beat a guy at 145. How can you call yourself the champion? I'll consider him the legitimate champion. Guys, that's just the way it is. It's not like he chose. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't duck anybody. He's fighting everyone and anyone. And he was supposed to step in against Ferguson, who beat Kevin Lee. I mean, these guys are the legitimate contenders. It's just that the haters are just going to hate. But you got to ignore that. He didn't do anything underhanded. It's just, out of everyone's control. Where is the Burger King? Henry, I don't know. That's a good question. Do you think Conor would KO Khabib? Hard to say. I think it would be a win, a dramatic win for either one. So if Khabib wins, it'll be dramatic. He'll get a takedown. It'll look one-sided. Or if Conor wins, it'll be one-sided. He'll land a shot, knock out Khabib. It'll be dramatic and one-sided. But which side is it going to go? That's the hard one to call because there's such opposite fighters. Whoever gets his world, whoever can impose his world is going to win lopsidedly. What do you think of Khabib's boxing? I think it's good. It's just a little stiff. The head movement's a little bit stiff, but he's got a great chin. Holloway, 5th round KO. That is a prediction from Mystic Guru. Mystic Guru is predicting a TKO win. Possible. Khabib wants to fight GSP next at 155. I don't think so. I haven't heard about anything like that. So I would be surprised if that is the case. How much of a threat is Ortega's jiu-jitsu for Khabib? I think it's a good threat. I mean, his jiu-jitsu is world class and it works really, really well in MMA. It's just that Khabib he seems like he has a hard neck to choke. That's just been my observation. Max never went to the championship rounds in the UFC. That's right. He never went to the championship round, but he prepared for championship rounds. Don't forget, he has I think 3 world title fights now, or I think even 4 or 5 round fights, or at least, I would say at least 3, right? He fought Perez, he fought Aldo twice. Who else did he fight for a 5 rounder? I can't remember. I think that might be it. You guys need to remind me. He did with Conor. No, with Conor it was a 3 rounder. Conor tore his ACL in the 2nd round, and it was a 3 rounder. Can GSP do a 1-arm chin-up? No, actually he can't. Khabib called out GSP on a recent interview, said it would be great. Well, maybe, but it'll have to be a mega fight. I don't know if those numbers would make sense. 20-pound weight cut in 5 days. How easy? Well, it depends on the guy. Some people lose 1 pound and they're crying about it. Some people lose 30 pounds and they feel great. So it's really a question of the individual, and it has a lot to do with the person's fitness level, in my opinion, as well. Jordan Peterson versus Justin Trudeau. Well, guys, listen. For those of you who didn't hear earlier on, Trudeau used to train at my gym. Jordan Peterson doesn't seem like he's been trained in any martial arts, so I would have to choose Trudeau. Trudeau would outbox him. I think if it went on the ground, Trudeau would be, wise enough to get back up to his feet, smart enough to get back up to his feet. He's younger, he's feisty, he's got a lot of guts. He's actually fought amateur boxing, so he's got that guts. I don't know if Peterson can take a shot, so that would have to be remain to be seen. SA, you are an inspiration, a coach, a role model. Keep it up. Thank you, Gustav. I really appreciate that, my man. Hey, for us, my friend. Sean says Khabib fakes injuries. I doubt he fakes injuries, guys. There's a lot of money on the line. These guys have fought so many times. They believe me. They want to get in there. They want to pick up that paycheck. Kobe can beat Khabib easy, guys. I doubt it. That's a fight that's probably gonna happen in the future for some reason. I know they're different weight classes, but if Khabib wins the world title and Kobe wins the interim world title at 170, I wouldn't be surprised in the least if they put those two together. Khabib goes up at 170 and fights Kobe Covington for a welterweight title. That can happen. I believe it will happen. It very possibly happen. It could happen that Khabib wins the 155 title and RDA wins the title, the interim title, and then they fight at 170, Khabib versus RDA, the rematch. That would be epic. You know, these are big fights. I think that are very, very possible. You know, not 100% in the books. Obviously, not. We don't know who's going to win, but there's going to be 55ers going up to 170 very shortly. I have that feeling. Faraz, I would love to train with you one day. Felix, come on down to TriStar Gym. I am there every single day and oftentimes teaching class twice a day. Come on down. Khabib would destroy RDA. Guys, RDA is a different animal. We don't know. They fought a long time ago. Things change, you know. If Khabib went up to 170 and it was champion versus champion, it would be amazing. Thoughts on Danaher Death Squad? Guys, I'm part of the Danaher. I'm a black belt from John Danaher. I love the Danaher Death Squad. I use the system myself. Love it. I love John Danaher. I've been training with him since I am a blue belt, and I'm happy to say that I'm a black belt from John Danaher. Okay, love the system. How does Woodley do against Khabib? Tough fight, you know, tough fight. Very, very similar styles in terms of, wrestling, attack, various level, I should say skill level of wrestling. But Woodley's got that cross, that right, powerful right hand, you know, very tough fight to call. Would you say Khabib's style sambo is main reason why he's bulldozing everyone? No, not really. You know, all the moves he does, I wouldn't say it's sambo and not jiu-jitsu. It's wrestling and it's sambo and not wrestling. Guys, all those moves exist. We all know those moves. He just does them at such a high level. It's not really a question of style. It's a question of level. You know, if you're learning armbar, whether you're calling it sambo or not, you know, it's who trained you, how well did you learn that curriculum, how far did you take the art? You know, that's the real question. Joe Rogan versus CM Punk. Well, Joe Rogan, in my opinion, would flatten him. You know, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, world-class taekwondo. I mean, he would just flatten, in my opinion, CM Punk. It would be a real one-sided beating, you know. Even if CM Punk were to get Rogan on the ground, you know, Rogan's in better shape, better jiu-jitsu, much better striking, much better ground game. It would just be a one-sided beating, you know. And Rogan has watched so many fights that he's a fight scholar, you know, for goodness sake. So definitely easy fight for Rogan. What do you think of Kobe Covington's personality-wise and skill-wise? Well, I like his skill. His personality, I won't comment on it. I think he's maybe trying to, other than saying that maybe he's trying to, get some of that limelight, get some of that big contract money, you know, make himself known. I don't know what his strategy is, but his fighting skill is very good. But Rogan wouldn't pass the USADA test. Maybe. I don't know. I've heard that he's admitted to taking a substance, so I don't know. You're right. Maybe he wouldn't. How would Khabib do against GSP? How would Khabib do? I've answered that before. Tough fight for Khabib, in my opinion. Do you have a squad of your own? Can I join? Do I have a squad of my own? TriStar Gym. That's the squad. TRT Rogan. Well, I'm not sure if he does TRT. I know he does weed. I don't know if you stop the weed at least for the fight. Might have another Nick Diaz situation with Rogan if he ever fought, but whatever he does, you know, I think he's very honest about it. So we'd have to, you guys would have to ask him. And but definitely he would beat CM Punk. How does steroids in the UFC possibly? How's steroids in the UFC possibly? They don't test? Yes, they test, but people take the chance to pass the test, and they have methods that they use, I assume, to pass the test. Again, I don't know much about that world. I've never taken or given anybody any substances. Okay, so definitely can't comment too much on that because I don't know much about it. Khabib dominates Holloway as much as people think. Will Khabib dominate? That's a question, guys. I'm not sure. I think Khabib wins, but it's going to be a tough fight, and I think Holloway will have his moments. All right, guys, I need to wrap this up, so I'm gonna do 3 more questions. Okay, 3 more questions, and then I gotta wrap this up. Are you wearing anything? Oh man, guys, keep it clean, please. Prime Zahabi versus McGregor. I'll let you guys decide. Yoel versus Robert Whittaker 2. I already answered that. I will pick Whittaker. Favorite football or soccer team? Favorite football soccer team? Don't really have one, guys. I don't watch any other sport really than MMA. I watch a little bit of football. Um, you guys are, man, comments are coming in so fast. It's so hard for me to read them. Is Khabib Connor's kryptonite? If he gets him to the ground, yes. But if he walks into a left, maybe not. Okay, do you think it was April Fool's joke at first? Was it announced that Tony Ferguson got injured on April Fool's? Well, I heard about it yesterday. Right? April Fool's was Sunday, so Sunday I was offline, no phone, almost, no connection to the world out there. Family day on Sunday, so I didn't hear about it till April 2nd when I came into the gym. So I did not think it was April Fool's joke. That's one question. Two more. Ryan Hall's return, yes, that's soon. Well, more on that hopefully soon, but I won't count that as a question. Are you ever going to go on the Joe Rogan podcast? Answer that next time I'm in LA. Any young TriStar prospects? Yes, many. Keep an eye out. Is a Minari roll effective in MMA? Yes, it is. If you can do it by surprise, at the right time, at the right moment, a Minari roll is good. I just wouldn't use it as a prime takedown. As a prime takedown, personally, I wouldn't use it. I would use it more as a counter when somebody's attacking me, rushing me, or as a surprise. All right, guys. Impressed with Anthony Joshua's performance against Parker? Anthony Joshua's performance against Parker. Which fight was that? I have to review it, guys. I'm sorry, I don't remember. That fight's not coming to mind. Is Max the best boxer Khabib has faced yet? That's a tough one to call. That might be, he might be. I'd have to think about that. I'd have to go through Khabib's last fights, but he's definitely up there. Yes, so that's a great point. Is Max Holloway the best puncher Khabib has fought? Well, I'll tell you something. Look, he fought Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson's an excellent puncher. I've had the privilege of working with him. He's a beast. He's a beast with his hands. I mean, he's fast. Michael Johnson is very fast, accurate, but he connected on Khabib. But he couldn't stay standing. Is Holloway as good of a puncher as Michael Johnson? I don't know. I got to tell you, I don't know. That's a tough one to call. But can he do what Michael Johnson did and keep it standing? That would be very impressive. When does Optic play? I don't know what Optic is. No idea what you're saying there. Do you think Khabib would retire undefeated? It would be wise to. I think it would be wise to, but not after this fight. He needs to do at least, if he wins the title, he needs to fight at least five more times, minimum 5 more times, to make that money that his potential has to make, and to get those super fights. After 3-4 fights, he'll get into a mega fights, big money fights, and fights that would cement him as the greatest of all time, or one of the greatest of all time. Hello, I'm a big fan of you. Thank you, Connor. Really appreciate that. Remember, Holloway, 5th round TKO. We'll have to wait and see. Noah versus Ayman, grappling match, rematch. Who wins? Tough one to call. Tough one. It's kind of like Ken and Ryu. They go through streaks. Lately Noah's been winning more often, but then Ayman goes through a win streak, and then it kind of seesaws back and forth. All right, Khabib equals best pound-for-pound fighter. I wouldn't agree yet. He hasn't done enough yet. He hasn't had enough wins yet, championship wins. Okay, so that's a tough title to carry. Okay. Bruce Lee in UFC. Well, Bruce Lee back then, coming into UFC today, no, he would get stopped because, he just doesn't know enough. But Bruce Lee back then, his philosophies, training in a time today with his philosophies, would probably be, no doubt, one of the top fighters in UFC history, in my opinion. Why? I've read his material. He clearly understood, the principles of, actually, you know what? I shouldn't say he understood. He pioneered these principles. He taught a lot of trainers like me and other great trainers. We've read his works, a lot of his theories, and they were based on very little experience. Don't forget, Bruce Lee only boxed for about 5 years. He discovered Western boxing. They call it Chinese boxing. He threw that in the dustbin, He started learning Western boxing, American boxing, like Mayweather's boxing, what they would call, refer to what's called referred to as Western boxing, okay? He only did that for 5 years, and he was getting good at it, really, and he understood the principles behind it. And he said, I would learn grappling. It's just not camera friendly, and it's not. You see some grappling maneuvers here and there, but you can't base a movie on jiu-jitsu moves. Nobody's done it yet, and especially back then, kung fu and karate and all that stuff was really hot. So he capitalized in the movie business but he understood fighting. He understood the principles. And if he had the heart of a fighter and the time and energy, if he wasn't spending time and energy on movies, I think Bruce Lee could have been a great, great, phenomenal fighter. And guys, with that, we're going to have to end this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. And see you all the next episode. Really, really appreciate it. There is a delay, so I'm going to let it play through, and then I'm going to cut the camera, guys. Very, very appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Had lots of fun with you guys. Very appreciate it. Thank you.